Ivan felt, I think, awkward by it, but we can't discuss it.
Mhm.
So that's one of the, it's just sometimes you kind of go, oh, this is just explain to me what's happening, and then I can go with the flow. But it was never quite. And Harold Ramis, I love Harold,
Mhm.
and he'll because he was the one who sort of kind of talked me through a lot of the stuff that I'm like, but why? What's going on? So
Yeah.
um,
And
and
a silly fan question, but was the backpack heavy? I mean, was it foam, rubber? I mean,
well, we had two. We had the one which was the originals were made out of metal,
oh
and
really?
so
Wow.
they're heavier than I think any of the stuff that I see guys make now. 'Cause there's
Mhm.
some great ones out there. That I saw one. I went to a steampunk convention in Arizona,
Mhm.
and they have and the whole steampunk thing with it was kind of a modified pack, but it out of the wand there it would shoot steam, and then it had a laser light that
mhm.
cut through the steam. So so when you flicked it on, it was great. I mean, they do some great stuff, but they're usually made out of some kind of material other than just that heavy metal. So that the original pack was really heavy. We had rubber packs that we could run in,
Mhm.
but you couldn't film them too close. But from a distance you couldn't tell the difference.
Sure.
And those are light, but the other ones were kind of heavy, and they would dig into your side, which is,
Wow.
well, which is not a lot of fun. But
I'm sure you've had your share of fans come up to you at these conventions and say, "Will you try this on?"
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I've worn. In fact, Brian Fear,
mhm.
who's prop maker, and he does a lot of stuff. I'm not quite sure if he has his own shop or if I know he does stuff for the studios, but he made me a backpack.
Mm.
And the only thing I kept from the movie was my jumpsuit,
Mhm.
and I had it on at a convention in New Jersey, and
Mhm.
somehow it disappeared from the hotel room.
Oh, really?
And so I think I told that story somewhere, and so Brian and his team, they made me a great suit, which is, I mean, it was pretty much, identical to the one that I'd lost, and
Yeah, that's awful.
and then they made me this amazing backpack, which I don't get a chance to wear it enough because I tried traveling with it once, and
Mhm.
they just totally freak out, and I go, dude,
Right.
did you see the movie? I mean, it's not a bomb here. I mean, it's
That's
like,
right.
so I don't travel with it much.
And your wife's not asking you to put that on late at night, is she? She's like,
No, no,
come on,
no,
when you put that thing on.
no. It might be fun, but no, I don't think. I think if I showed up in that, I'd be sleeping somewhere else.
All
But
right.
but I was very honored that they did it. It was very cool.
Nice, nice. And my last question for you is, so I mean, do you ever master your art? So like, how have you grown as an actor from like when you first started out, in plays doing like The Great White Hope and like Lead Belly, for example, to now? Like, how do you think you've grown as an actor, and how has your craft improved over those years?
Well, I think if anything, I'm probably just easier about it. You know what I mean? I remember hearing the story of Henry Fonda and Jane Fonda, and she was working so hard to get it right, and he just said, what are you doing? Just act. You know what I mean? It's
Uh huh.
like it ain't that deep. I mean, it's. I think when you read a script, what makes a character different than another character. There's something of that. Uh, I don't know. It's an intuitive thing you get. It's not like you can research it and you can discover certain things and you put it together. In the old days, that's what you did. Even costumes. I'd wear a hat and the hat would give me a certain vibe, and you put together this long history and this what's his favorite color and
Mhm.
that stuff. But then you kind of let that go. There's an intuitive. You kind of get it. You kind of go, this is where it should be.
Sure.
Now, sometimes when you audition and you go in, what your version is not what they're thinking, so you don't get the job. But there's and I think that's come. I sort of trust that more than I trust me. Sort of. And you still do your homework.
Right.
Certainly, if a character has a different experience, you need to know what his world I have a sense of what his world is about. But
Mhm.
basically, it's kind of you just when I started out and I was a single parent, my
Mhm.
marriage ended. The boys came with me. I had two older boys, and they had to call me by the character's name on the day of the audition because I was, I had to get in the character, and I had to, stuff like that. You just, and when they say cut, I can laugh and joke. And used to be, I'd kind of walk around, especially if it was an intense character, I'd walk around focused.
Right, right.
Now when I was doing Oz, it's, there had a lot of guys in the background who had, done a little time, and
Mhm.
so it was an interesting group, and they were all very friendly to me. I mean, for the most part, even I was a little bit outside. I was a warden,
Mhm. Right.
but I kind of came through. Everybody was cool, but when I went in, I had this routine where I would go and I'd shine my shoes, and I'd put on my suit like it was my uniform, and then I was the warden.
Mhm.
Now, it didn't make any difference to me. I mean, I'm still, you know, but when I walked out, everybody kept a distance, and it was strange. Even when I tried to connect with them, people didn't want to. And that wasn't me asking for that. It was, I just thought it was very. So you can imagine, I always ate lunch by myself. It's like
Mhm.
there's something about, and I know there was something out that sort of came through that. But I'm just much so I'm just much easier about it. It's not that heavy. It's not that deep. It's what we do.
Mhm.
And when they say cut, you know. But it took a long time to just trust. Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe I just trust. You know, and especially when you can, if you're in a show where you're bringing your best to it and you're working with good people, there's nothing better. I mean, you're working with good people. You got good material.
Mhm.
That's really kind of cool, and then it's really fun.
Well,
But it's hard to when you
yeah.
don't trust the director or you don't the material. You got to really sort of almost bend over backwards just to make the words sound right.
Sure, sure. Yeah.
Um, you know,
All right.
so
I got you. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're not sitting at home watching Ghostbusters over and over again.
yeah,
So
yeah,
why,
no, maybe
like Norma
you
Desmond,
know,
right? Yeah.
yeah, no, and if I ever find myself in a nursing home sitting in a chair, I'll have them play my movies back. But until then, most of the stuff, sadly to say, I don't. Some of the stuff I don't even get a chance to see.
Yeah.
But or and I'm certainly haven't seen it more than once or twice.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, Even though probably I'd love to go and revisit some of the older stuff, the weeds and things that I haven't seen in years.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's amazing when I see fans who've seen it 150 times and
Right.
know all the dialogue. And
Mhm.
that's. But I'm not a movie fan like that. You know, what I mean, I don't. I work in the industry, but I'm not that kind of a fan.
Sure. Gotcha.